and I'm so excited about presenting Parenting Hero, how to instantly raise and maintain your child's grades. I'm excited about this because I've had an opportunity to give this presentation to a number of parents, and they always ask, hey, record a webinar because you gave so much good information that's going to help me and my children, but I need to see it again because I can't remember everything you said just by watching it one time. So I'm so excited that God allowed me to find and technology to be able to do that and present this for you today. So I've been a psychologist for close to 20 years. 20 years I've been serving families, I've been serving children, marriages, couples, and so I know a lot about the disconnect between schools and parents and home and actually how they can work together. So today we're going to talk about how to instantly raise and maintain your child or your children's grades. I'm excited about it. I have been doing this work here in the office for many years, and I'm excited about being able to present it to you today. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. All right, so why do I do these webinars? I simply cannot meet the demand. I can't meet the demand. I can't see as many parents and as many kids as I really want to in this office to have the impact that I want. I also want to work smarter, faster, better, and impact millions of parents worldwide while still having time to spend time with my two daughters and wife. I need that also elusive balance, but I am finding it because I'm doing things like this that allow me to impact more people without having to see everyone one-on-one here in the office. And then, the academic underachievement is a treatable clinical disorder when it comes to psychology. I mean, look it up. You can look in the ICD-10 code. I don't think you care about all that stuff, but it's actually something that you can come into the office and get someone to treat. And I've been doing it. I'm a specialist when it comes to helping kids to improve their grades, to work with schools, to figure out 504 plans, IEP, private tutoring, but mostly what you can do as a parent. Because a lot of times it's difficult to work with schools and get on the same page depending on the school system. Some are great, some are medium, and some, well, yeah, let's just not speak on it. But I'm here to empower you, the parent. And then I'm also addicted. You can tell I have great joy in making you heroes and saving kids' lives because we know right now, without an education, it's going to be very difficult for you to make money and make a living of any sort, no matter where you are, whether you're going to be self-taught, whether you're going to go to a traditional college or university. I want to make sure that you're able to teach your kids how to learn and learn the highest level so they can pick the career that they want and retire you as a parent. How about that? All right. So who am I and who trusts me? I am a consultant for the National Basketball Association. I work with 1/6 of the rookies each year, one of my favorite contracts. I hope it's renewed again each year. Every year they look at you and see if they have room for you, where I actually teach NBA rookies about life skills, about relationships, family management, how to say no to family, how to manage time, all those type things. And I love the NBA. It's one of the most favorite, my favorite organizations out there for putting programming in, just helping young men, young women, and their families. Also a frequent guest on CNN. On the right, there was a show called Intelligence for Your Life with John Tesh, who used to be on Entertainment Tonight. I served as a guest psychologist for that show. Also had opportunity to be on BET a couple of times on 106 in Park on Stop Bullying. We were very successful in getting schools to pick up bullying initiatives. Also the on-air psychologist for Ricky Smiley. And then I had a show a few years back on TV1 called Love Addiction. So this establishes some credibility so that you know that I know what I'm talking about. And I've been doing this for a long time. I graduated from, yes, right, the Morehouse College here in Atlanta, Georgia. I am the youngest African American to get his PhD in clinical psychology from the University of Michigan. Go Blue. We will win the national championship next year and every year thereafter. I'm proud to say that. And I also got an NAACP award for 17 plus years of working with youth and their families around all things related to psychology. And like I said before, I'm a husband and father of two. So I am excited about those accolades. Glory be to God for allowing me to be recognized. And I just want to let you know that I'm appreciative, and I'm going to give you the very best of what I have. All right. So here's what you're going to learn. Let's dive in. Enough about me. I'm a servant. Okay. You're going to learn why kids struggle in school, and it's not what you think. It's not what you think. Okay. And then you're going to learn how to jumpstart your children when they really don't like or get school. I'm also going to teach you a system that will improve your parenting skills immediately. I mean, you're going to walk away from this webinar knowing how to do some things immediately, because I'm going to show you everything that I've learned and studied in the research and have, practiced and perfected here in this office with parents. Because, a lot of times they're curveballs. Some of our kids have some special issues and special circumstances. And then you're going to get your children to be disciplined and improve their grades. I'm going to show you a system for that, and I'm going to do all of that in the next 45 to 50 minutes, all right? Because I know your time is valuable, all right? So let's dive in. All right, how many of you know that parenting kids' success is hard? I mean, it sounds easy, but I don't know about you, but my daughters did not come with a parenting manual. I had to figure it out, and if you have more than one kid, you realize that what you learn about one doesn't necessarily apply for the next. Or if you have different genders, what works for your boy doesn't work for your girl, and so on and so forth. All right, and then a lot of times schools don't have the funding or the initiatives to support parent training, which I think was incredibly essential, because we can be the best parents in the world, but that doesn't mean that we know how to teach them math and science and social studies at every grade level the way the teachers want it, especially if they have these different standards, like here in Georgia, it's Common Core. So you could teach your child how to do math, but it could be incorrect. You can get the right answer, but it's not how they're teaching it. And so it'd be great if schools had parent training to show you how to tutor your child when they're home. All right, but we'll get into that. And then being a parent doesn't make us great tutors. Oh my goodness. Our oldest daughter is in 5th grade, and some of the stuff I look at in social studies and science, I promise you, I don't think I had that, or either I forgot it or I never learned it. Some of the stuff in math, it's amazing. She's taking Spanish. I took French. So I get it as a parent. They say work with your kids, but I only know what I know. So I'm going to talk to you about how to overcome all those obstacles. And boy, it helps when you're a real parent, so that you can see it's not as easy as you think. And then, to be honest, some of my kids have issues. Sometimes it's the school. Sometimes it's how our kids learn. Sometimes it's the phase of life that they're in. Sometimes it's peer pressure. Sometimes it's all kinds of things. Foster care. All types of issues that affect kids. All right. Oh man, this is so exciting. That's why I'm glad I could be a psychologist to help you understand some things and realize there's the method to the madness when it comes to kids. All right, so the psychology of quitting. In 1967, these psychologists, Dr. Seligman and Dr. Meyer, they wanted to find out, can you make people quit? So they started with a dog experiment. And so what they did was they put the dogs into 3 categories. They took dogs and they put them in this harness. They put them in a harness. First set of dogs, and that's all they did, put them in a harness. This is what's called the control group. The second group, they put them in the harness, but under their feet was a shock. But if they pushed a lever, second set of dogs could stop the shock. So in other words, they couldn't control when the pain came, but they could control stopping it. Third set of dogs, they put in the harness, and as you can imagine, they upped the ante. When they shocked them and the dogs pushed the lever, it didn't work. So the third set of dogs were unable to control when the pain came, and they were unable to stop it. They, in essence, just had to take it. So they took these 3 sets of dogs, and they put them in the final scenario which you see. So they put them in this box, and all they had to do to get from one side to the other was simply jump over an obstacle. All right, so the first set of dogs that were put in the harness, when they were shocked, all those dogs jumped over the obstacle to avoid a shock. When they put the second set of dogs, now remember, these were the ones that were placed in the harness, but when they pushed the lever, they were able to stop the shock. And in the second trial, when they were shocked, 100% of those dogs jumped over. But what's interesting, with the third set of dogs, now these were the dogs that were not able to control when their pain started, nor when it ended. They had no control. When they were shocked, they didn't even try to jump over the obstacle. 60% of those dogs did not even try to jump over the obstacle. They just laid down and urinated. And when the presenters would even try to push them or coerce the dogs to go over, the dogs would fight back. They would resist. And so what they found is that we can make dogs, children, and adults helpless. Even when they see a way out of pain, sometimes we can be so traumatized when we fail, or we've had traumas, or we've been told no, or things didn't work, to where we just stop trying. And we see that happen a lot with our kids. You know they can do the math. The teacher is telling you he or she is smart enough, intelligent to do the math, but your child, your son or daughter doesn't believe it, so they don't want to try because they don't want to fail because failure hurts. And I think as adults we can relate. How many of us have tried love and it didn't work and you just said, okay, I'm going to shut that down? Or maybe you tried running a business and it didn't work out. Or maybe you tried losing weight or tried switching jobs or you tried doing something. So what we know is that past pain, all right, can relate to all of us shutting down. Now, what I didn't tell you is that 40% of those dogs actually they jumped over the obstacle and they were able to avoid shock. And that was the first psychological evidence of belief or faith. These dogs had no experience that they could control their pain, but they looked at these other dogs jumping over and they said, hey, what the heck? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to jump and see what happens. All right? And they were able to escape it. So we have to make sure that we're always instilling hope. We are always encouraging our kids just to take a chance. We're always doing that. Okay? All right? Because faith is real. And this slide is really going to come in handy later when I start talking about what to do. All right. So there's this book out by Dr. Carol Dweck, who's this award-winning psychologist and the author of the book Mindset, that basically changed how we think as psychologists about talent. We used to think that kids are just born smart, all right? And there are some kids that are born with a certain affinity for math or science or social studies or dance or drama or whatever it is. But what we found is that we can make our kids more talented by having them practice, practice, practice. Like Allen Iverson, the video, practice, practice, practice actually makes our kids better. And so it doesn't matter if your kid starts out but low grade level. If you can get him or her a tutor or work with them on reading or get them an app or a program where they're practicing reading, they're going to get better. And by the end of the year, they can be the top reader in their class if they simply practice. So I know when I read that book a few years ago, it opened me up. I was like, wow, I could have gone back and been a professional baseball player. I quit when I was in Little League because I didn't feel like I had what it took to go to the next level of high school. And I figured, hey, but now if I had read that, I would have just practiced and realized that I could have gotten better at pitching and infield and all that kind of stuff. And so they even did this study where they showed art, where they had people draw an original picture, all right, and then they had an artist come in and give 2 or 3 hours of lessons on how to draw, had the people draw again, and their drawings got dramatically better. So what that did for a lot of people was realize I can do anything if I'm willing to practice. So what's that mean for us as parents? We can influence our kids' success if we only get them to practice. Our kids don't need to be great at everything. They just need to be good enough to get an A or a B and keep it, or C if that's the best that they can do, and then move forward and get A's and B's in the classes that they really, really, really enjoy. So I do honestly believe that every child can be on honor roll. Schools want you to be on honor roll. They want higher test scores. They are begging for it. That's how principals get promotions. So they're willing to work with you with tutorial, Saturday school, after school, private tutorial, public tutorial, whatever it is. So if we can just get our kids to work hard and stop quitting, we're going to be better parents. All right. So let's talk about, I didn't even talk about this. I see a lot of single moms. It's a myth that moms can't raise great men. It's just a myth. It's not true. People state it in the research as if, it is true. But when we look at it, research by Dr. Henry Rasuti, I hope I said his name right, out of Cornell University shows that single parenting does not negatively affect boys when the mother's parenting system is excellent and similar to the way men raise boys. And moms are already doing it. So what does that mean? That means that when the mom says, my son or my daughter can do anything, no matter whether his father is involved in his life or not, he's going to be excellent. Those kids do better. So what that means is that the self-efficacy, the empowerment, the confidence of the mother is what wills the young man or the young lady to being successful. And that makes sense. So it's not about being single mom. All right. So when we look at it, famous men raised by single moms. President Barack Obama, former President Bill Clinton, Dr. Ben Carson, Usher Raymond, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Les Brown, Malcolm X, Tom Cruise, your sons and daughters, half your cousins, maybe you, all raised by single moms that said, no matter what, you're going to get your education or you're going to have that strong character, man, and you're going to be successful by any means necessary. So I just wanted to just do a special note because I know there are a lot of parents out there that are doing it by themselves, and I just don't like it when people start talking about all the negatives when it comes to single moms. I mean, we're supposed to be there as fathers anyway. It's supposed to be a two-person job. So I just will not allow anyone to beat up on single moms, and I want to offer that encouragement and say that you can parent your young son or daughter to be phenomenally successful. So are you ready to be your child's hero? Are you ready? I'm going to give you 8, maybe even 9 steps to helping your kid improve their grades right now. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. I'm excited about it. All right. Listen, first of all, what you want must be greater than what you fear. What you want must be greater than what you fear. So I know you fear maybe your son not graduating, maybe even getting arrested, maybe pregnancy, maybe giving up drugs and alcohol. Maybe you fear your daughter not being able to go to college, or maybe you feel like a lot of parents, they don't get serious until later in high school when it's too late for them to get a scholarship, which would save us close to $100,000 the cost of college right now, which is ridiculous. But if we want them to be successful and we want them to get those scholarships so that we could retire early or go to Jamaica or Hawaii or Fiji or Bali or Bora Bora, wherever you want to go, because that college money that you save or did not save, you can keep that. You can keep that and enjoy it. We want to focus on what we want more than what we fear. It's going to help us to stay the course in empowering our children. All right? Number 1, we have to inspire through exposure. Don't adults need inspiration? There are a lot of kids just don't get the importance of school. They don't get it. They will do school when you get on them or take away something, but they don't really get what school has to do with their future. And as adults, I know we're thinking, that is absolutely crazy. How could you not see the link? But me having access and talking to kids every day, I see how they think. A lot of high schools don't post GPAs. They don't post the GPA and help them understand where their grade point average is relative to the college that they want to get into. So there are a lot of people that say, you know what, I can get into my state university if I just pass all my classes. If I just pass high school, I can get into the state university. No, you can't. You need a GPA that's high enough. So you have to look at, we're here in Georgia, you have to look at what University of Georgia and Georgia Tech and Georgia State and West Georgia, what they look for. You have to look at some of your private institutions. You have to look and see what Harvard and Emory and Morehouse, University of Michigan, they have pretty high GPA requirements. And you can go and get money if you simply get the right GPA. All right? So what turns kids on? They have to find their element. There was a book by Ken Robinson called The Element, How Finding Your Passion Changes Everything. And what it says is that our kids don't really need to be great at everything. All right? They just really need to be passionate about one thing. Find their element. Find their element. So your son or daughter could be passionate about basketball. That basketball passion makes them want to study because they want to stay eligible, and they want to get into the best universities and show that they're a good student. It's not the fact that they all of a sudden had an interest in science and social studies. They have an interest in playing basketball. And being on the basketball court requires a GPA minimum. You can't fail your classes. You need to make A's and B's depending on the coaching school system. So what does that mean for you? Help your kid find their element. All right, there has to be a point to school for kids who want to do all of that work. I don't know is not allowed by your kids. If they say, I don't know what I want to be, expose them. Don't just tell them. Show them a career that excites them. When I met a psychologist when I was in high school during career day, and he told me that he got paid to talk all day long. He told me he got over $100 an hour. I was like, that's what I want to do because I am a great talker. Look right here on my report card. It says, Ian talks too much. See? All right, so all you high school teachers that were hating on me, I was trying to be a psychologist back then. No, but seriously, help your kids find their element. If they want to go into the arts, take them to a performing arts school or to the local performing arts theaters in your city, and let them see. Let them see kids if they can, acting and singing and dancing. Your kid talks back all the time. Take them to court. Let them see attorneys going back and forth and have them talk to some of the attorneys and say you could turn all that talking back into some money. If your kids are good with always hustling, I mean in a good way, always trying to make money, take them to a car dealership. Allow them to see the negotiation that goes along with being a car salesman or a car saleswoman. Make sure they see and are exposed to architecture, to teaching, to how to actually get 1 million views on YouTube. They're professional YouTubers right now, and a lot of your kids want to do that, and you brush it off until you see the money that they are making, because everything is online right now. Allow them to see how social media works and learn about SEO and meta tags. I won't get too geeky, but allow them to meet a YouTuber. Allow them to actually meet someone that does that for their firm or marketing, or another YouTuber. Allow them to see the consistency and the discipline and how much they have to study to figure out which posts work and which posts don't. Okay? So show them. Quick story. I was working with some kids in an inner city neighborhood, and I was trying to convince them. I said, look, you guys really need to go to college. I went to Morehouse. It was a wonderful experience. They kept saying, yeah, we don't want to go to college. It sounds lame. It's whatever, a bunch of geeks there. We don't want to go. And so I took them. I got a van. I took them down to the Atlanta University Center, where there's, just a hodgepodge of colleges. There's Morehouse College, which is all male, which is right across the street from Spelman, which is all female, and then there's Clark Atlanta University and Morris Brown University, Morris Brown College, rather, where they are mixed. It's co-ed. And so, of course, I started at Spelman and then Clark. And by the time we finished that walking tour, all the young men, all of them wanted to go to college. Because, first of all, they liked the girls there, and they saw young men with book bags on. And when we stopped them, I asked them, what are you studying? They said, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a dentist. I want to be an attorney. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a politician. I want to be I want to be a school teacher. I want to be a principal. I want to be a best-selling author. Or I want to be a director, a screen producer, whatever. And they saw these mathematicians. They saw these young men and these young women going for it. And so a picture is worth 1,000 words. All right? And so by them seeing forward momentum and people going to college, and the fact that it was incredibly social. They saw people on the yard. They saw the people stepping. They saw socializing. And they want to do that. That looked a lot better than sitting at home at your mom and dad's house getting yelled at or working a job that you absolutely hate for minimum wage. So I had to show them. So remember, we can show our kids better than we can tell them. So put them in that element. All right, number 2, we have to set high expectations. We are the ones responsible for setting high expectations for our kids. We must believe and behave as if our children can be and do anything they desire, as long as they do the work. So we have to set high expectations. My parents never introduced me to limits to me when I was growing up. So I never thought limits existed. I always expected to be the smartest kid in school because they told me that I could. When I got my class schedule, my mom and dad sat down with me and said, all right, what do you think you can make in these classes? And I would put A, B, A, B. And my mom would scratch out the B's and then put A's. And so I tried to go for those A's. And so what I want you to do is make sure that, early on, you start your kids out and saying, hey, if we work hard, we can get A's and B's. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy, but if we practice, like math did not come easy for me, but I got A's in almost every class I took, even AP Calculus, because I studied and I had a tutor. Oh my goodness, I was so mad at my mom for making me get tutoring on Saturday mornings. Miss Ann Zachary, shout out if you watch this. And to all the kids that she's tutored, she's probably tutored thousands of kids, but she made me a beast in math. I mean, I knew that math left and right. She taught me all the tricks. So it wasn't that I had an affinity for math. I didn't pick up as quickly as some of my friends who are engineers and physics professors. But I was able to get similar grades because I was able to work at it, because the expectation was that you can do anything. So let's make sure that we set the expectations high. And so that means say what you mean and mean what you say. So that means if you want honor roll, your kid should not have a cell phone. They should not have access to their cell phone. They shouldn't have it, not until they have A's and B's. You can get it after you do your homework. You can get on your PlayStation after you do your homework. Don't pull your kids out of sports. I think you should have them dressed like this in shirt and tie, and then just watch the game. watch practice while they do their homework so they get it up, just like they do in the NBA. Hey, if you are um, suspended, not doing what you're supposed to do, they don't kick you off the team. They make you watch until you get your practice skills or whatever it is up. So let's just make sure that we are empowering handing our kids the highest of expectations. All right. You know what's so funny is that both my parents worked in education for many years, and my way of rebelling against my parents when I was in high school was back in the day, a 92 to 100 was an A in my school system, DeKalb County, here in Georgia. And the way I rebelled was I made all 92s. All 92s. I made straight A's, 4.0, but I just was like, I'm not going to do all that work. I need some freedom. And my mom and dad looked at my report card and said, congratulations, Alduan. You are the dumbest A student in the world. So that was funny. It wasn't funny to me at the time, but now it's funny because my way of rebelling was to get a very low A. Isn't that crazy? Because my parents set the bar. But later on, it's what fueled that excellence in me. It's what fueled me saying, no, I can do better. I can figure, no, I'm not going to give up on this kid. I think we might be able to do something else. Let me read this study. Let me call this other researcher. Let me do something. Let me figure something out. And so they instill that, the highest expectation, which makes me a great doctor, a great father, a great husband, because I'm always trying to find out how to do better. All right, number 3. Oh, this is big. Parental engagement. You have to show up for your kids. I see kids every day right here in this office, and the number one complaint from kids is that they don't get enough face time from you, from their parents. I know that sounds crazy when I tell you leave them alone, get out of their room, but really they want to be engaged. They want to connect. A lot of times, what do? They're engaging on their phones, on social media. They're engaging even on their video games, so they're playing with their friends. They're engaging in chat, hotlines, and whatnot. And we want to make sure we engage them by doing 4 things. 1, we schedule time with our kids daily, one-on-one. We don't try to spend time with 2 of them at the same time, quality time. Do that for family time, but one-on-one, at least try to spend 10, 15 minutes just a day, just checking in with your child, asking how they're doing, how was their day, what's going on in school, what did they eat, what happened with that girl you like, what happened with that guy you like, is the teacher still pretty challenging, or how did cheerleading go? Really get into their world, kind of gossipy, because you want them to feel like you're interested in their world versus just being a drill sergeant and asking them, what did you learn in math, science, social studies, what did you do, don't do that, don't do that. Engage them, all right? So schedule time with them. 2, tune in with them without distraction. Be present. Be present. Don't be on your phone. Don't cook. Don't try to talk to them unless you have to while you're driving. Or if you are driving, turn the radio down so that you can really tune in. Because we have to do that so that we can listen well enough to get them. More than kids want to be loved, they want you to get them, which helps them to feel love. Because if you get me, if you get the fact I'm doodling all the time because I want to be a cartoonist, you get me. For instance, my daughter all of a sudden started flipping through the house. And I was like, this girl have ADHD? What's going on? And once I sat down and talked to her, I realized that she had watched the Gabby Douglas story on Netflix. And so she wanted to practice around the house. So what do? I behaved like I got our daughter. I signed her up for gymnastics. All right? And she has gymnastics even to this day because she wants to pursue her dream of being a gymnast, or at least being able to flip or accomplish new things. And so I get her. So I don't run out and say she has ADHD. You know, I say, all right, she's just trying to be Gabby Douglas. Now, special note: I'm a psychologist, and I absolutely believe in ADHD. It is very, 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 very real. And if you don't go get treatment for your child, they're going to fail. They're going to do poorly. They're going to stop believing in themselves, and it's all going to be because you didn't get help for that kryptonite, which was attention deficit. Okay, so special note on that. I wanted to be clear. Absolutely, it exists. Now, is it overdiagnosed? Yes, but it's also underdiagnosed. There are a number of kids that we call bad or hyper or active. All right, and that's not the case at all. If they keep getting in trouble and they're not doing well at school and they're getting in trouble even in sports and church and other places, at least do a rule out of ADHD. That's my little psychology note. Okay. And have them take their medication. It's a stimulant. Anyway, we'll get into that whole. No, I just want to endorse that. Parents have kids with ADHD. You know, All right. Some of them grow out of it, don't need the medication. Others, they need it, and only thing that matters to the colleges is the GPA. That's what that matters, and the grade point average, and the SAT, and the ACT scores. Who cares how they got it? All right. Number 4, and we're almost there. We're halfway. Sorry about that. All right. We have to schedule and monitor their daily study time to make sure they have effective structure. So don't ask your kids if they have homework. Don't ask them that. That's like asking, did you commit the murder? Everyone's going to say not guilty until you see the evidence. All right. So don't give them the opportunity. So don't ask if they have homework. We need to start building work ethic right now. Okay. So it's not about no homework, but daily practice and mastery of skills. All right, so that means that homework time should be every day at the same time, 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, right after school. However you want to set it up where you can monitor it so that your kids get into the habit, good habits, of being professional with their work, if that makes sense. Being professional and making sure that they're doing their homework every day and studying, because structure creates, teaches, and instills work ethic, which results in success. You're good at your job because you have work ethic. You go hard every single day. We want to teach our kids to do that. So when you come home, you're looking over the math and science and social studies and literature every single day. The more you look at it, according to the research, remember Dr. Dweck, practice, 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 the smarter our kids are going to be. So if I'm practicing math problems, all right, every day, that doesn't mean I'm looking at the example. That means I'm looking at a blank math problem. A lot of kids say it the wrong way. They look at their notes and say, I know how to do that. Get to the test with no notes and say, oh, I forgot. It's because you're not studying the same way as the test. You actually have to remove the answer, remove the notes, and see if you can work it, and then flip your notes over and see if you got the right answer. All right? Even by failing and getting a couple of things wrong, they're going to say, ooh, I need to go back and study that and remember that formula. So make sure that we're structuring them just to study every day. So you can't go outside, you can't get on the phone, you can't get on social media, you can't go ride your bike, you can't go outside until after you study. Work hard, then play hard. All right, so structure. We do that, they're on point. All right, now also, raise your hand if you are a drill sergeant parent. I confess that used to be me. Our oldest daughter is in 5th grade now. Youngest one is only an infant, so it's not time for her to learn. That's not true, actually. She's learned through books every day. Oldest one is in 5th grade, and I used to be a drill sergeant tutor. All right, I used to be that. All right, she's in gifted class, very, very smart, works hard to be in those classes. And I used to say, oh, really, that's the answer? I used to say, all right, Ray, that's her nickname. Ray, if you're not going to try, then I don't have time because I work too hard for you not to try. And she looked at me and said, Dad, don't take this the wrong way. I want Grandma and Grandpa to help me out with my homework. So I said, fine. I'm blessed enough. My parents live 15, 20 minutes from me. So we went over there and I sat back. My daughter made the same mistake because my parents, I told you, they work in education. And my mom and dad said, Ray, go up there and take that stinger hat off. Go put on a new hat. Come on now. She came downstairs with a hat and said, girl, if you just take that stinger hat off and put on that wonderful, smart hat, girl, you're going to get the right answer. And guess what? She did. And what we know from the research is positivity is the #1 quality related to children's success in school. It's the positivity of the parent helping them. All right? It's the positivity. So we have to make sure that we stop being self-critical of ourselves. I had to stop being self-critical to be that for her. And now I'm super positive. And there's a ratio I want to give you. For any relationship to feel good, it has to have a 5-to-1 ratio. 5 positives for every negative. And sometimes as parents, and I'm guilty too, we're quick to do the negative, but we're not fast enough to compliment. Say, well, you're good in science, you're good at social studies, this is great in PE, great in health, your art grade is good, but you know what, we really need to work on this C or this D in this forensic science class. All right. Sometimes we just say, oh, how are you going to get a C? How are you going to get into college? And we ignore all the good stuff that they're doing. All right. So we have to make sure, even if the grades are not good, hey, you made your bed up. Hey, you're a wonderful athlete. You're a great chef. You're composed, laid back, or you are outspoken, but I need you to get your grades up. I need you to do that. So make sure we have that 5-to-1 so that our kids actually want to listen to us Otherwise, the environment is too toxic. And a related story about that is that we got our daughter some fish. We got her six fish, six glow fish, and we put them in a tank. And within 3 minutes, all six of those fish died. All six of them died. Of course, she started crying because she's missed Save the World, and mother and I are looking at her like, oh man, this is terrible. We bought a six fish and died. We just depressed our daughter. And what we found out was that the tank was too hot. We didn't get the thermometer. We just didn't think to do it. And so the moral of that story is there was nothing wrong with the fish. There was something wrong with the fish's environment. All right, it was something wrong with the environment. And a lot of our kids can learn, but we put them in a pressure cooker. We put too much heat on them. All right, and I believe in high standards, but it should always be done with positivity. The bosses that you like, the preachers that you like, the teachers that you like, the supervisors that you like, the mentors that you like, they have standards, but they're also positive. So we need to make sure that we're positive too. All right, so do things to put yourself in a better mood. Exercise, take a shower, watch a quick funny video, whatever you need to do. Tag team if you can to make sure that you're positive when you're helping your kids out with homework. Or maybe some of you just need to pass it off. All right, sometimes you just have to pass it off to someone and realize that is not in my skill set, so I'm going to get you the happiest, most competent tutor in the world. All right, and that way you're good to go. All right, number 6, discipline. Children are not born with self-discipline. We have to instill it. We have to instill it. So discipline is not cruelty. It's not being cruel. You shouldn't have mom guilt or dad guilt. It's a loving guilt that produces competency. But I get you to study every day. I'm making you more competent. I'm making you more powerful. I'm giving you confidence. I'm allowing you to stick your chest out. I'm allowing you to get a Hope Scholarship. I'm allowing you to get a National Merit Scholarship. I'm helping you to get a great score on the ASVAB for those of you kids that are going into the military. You can get a job that pays a lot of money that you love. I am disciplining you. I am discipling you. Discipline is to spare the rod, spoil the child. It doesn't necessarily mean spank. A rod, a measuring stick. I am discipling you and creating good habits that are going to help you to be more powerful, more competent, and be more gritty when you get older. All right? So what you want to do with our children is that you want to start strict and then be lenient. Start strict, so we're going to start at the beginning of the year, no cell phone, we're going outside, not until the first 2 weeks, and I see you I get some grades back, and then you can be more lenient. As your kids do well and they don't need that level of discipline, back off. Parent relative to where they are. But a lot of you, especially those of you that have headstrong kids, especially boys, you have to start strict and then be lenient. Now, most men, when they get older, they say, what accounts for your success? They say, hey, my mom and dad didn't play the radio. I mean, they said what they meant and they meant what they said. And because of that, they were able to prune me and structure me and mold me and shape me with the potter's clay. That's that minister in me coming out into a fine young man or a fine young woman. I learned how to handle business. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to reward good behavior and consequence negative behavior. All right? So be good first, and then I'll be good to you last. Do your homework, I'll give you the cell phone. Do your homework, of course you can play football. Do your homework, of course you can get on the phone and talk to your girlfriend and Skype and Uvu and whatever it is that you want to do. So I just want to make sure that I said that. All right, so I'm doing too much. Don't worry about what's at the bottom. Okay. So also for some of you have really, 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 really strong-willed kids, and how do you know what I'm talking about? This is when you have to put your kid on punishment for them to be good. It seems like the only time they comply is when they're on punishment and you're tired of doing it. Let me give you a solution. So instead of putting them on or off punishment, what I want you to do is I want you to slowly graduate privileges back. So take the TV away, and then when they give you a good week in school first, or they do what you ask them to do around the house first, or they're respectful in their language first, then you want to give them back 30 minutes of TV, just one show, all right? Or 30 minutes of iPad time, or allow them to participate in practice but not game, okay? And then the next week, 2 shows. You want to give it back 20. So imagine at work, if you were mouthing off to your supervisor, all right? They could suspend you for a couple of days. Okay, that would hurt. But what will hurt more and shape your behavior is to say, all right, if you're going to come back, we're going to give you 10 hours. Work the 10 hours this week, do a good job. Next week, we'll give you 20. And we'll give you 30. give you 40. If it takes you a whole month to get back to full-time work and that pay, you're going to be less likely to mouth off to your supervisor, all right? So we have to structure our kids according to their personality. Some of them, you just have to say things a couple times or punish them once and they'll be good. For others, you're going to have to stay strict until they learn that self-discipline. If you were obstinate as a child and stubborn, your child probably going to be the same way. So just make sure that you stay positive, but you stay consistent with what you're doing so that we can disciple them, okay? It says discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, okay? So let's make sure we bridge our kids to being successful. So we're almost there. Number 7, problem solving. No helicopter parents allowed. So what's that mean? That means that every time that is a problem, you're the parent that's up there meeting with the teacher, threatening to get the principal fired, going to the school board. And I'm all for advocacy. I'm all for it because sometimes you have to light a fire for them to see that you mean business. But what you want your child to do is learn how to problem solve first. All right, and the way you do that is you scaffold. All right, so a scaffold is something that's right above your head. So you know how you're walking, especially in New York, they have the scaffolds above when they're doing construction. So you want to lead your child to the answer. So for instance, say they get a 65 on their test. And they say, I don't know what happened, Mom, Dad, I got 65. And then you don't say you need to study more. You say, hey, well, you know what? How did you? I didn't prepare. I just crammed it last minute. Okay. Did that work? No, I got a 65. All right. So what do you think you should do? Study more every day? Okay. What time are you going to do that? You get it? We're leading them and we're actually teaching them problem solving. Why is this important? We know that one of the top reasons that kids don't do well in college or when they leave the household is because children of helicopter parents struggle in college and work. Why? Because they never learn problem solving. Mom and dad or grandma and grandpa always came to the rescue. Don't do that. Allow them to problem solve and then you step in. Allow them to come up with solution 1, 2, and 3 of how they're going to solve the problem, resourcefulness, before you get engaged, okay? So teenagers should be coached to be resourceful. Find a way to get it done with integrity. I'll be honest. I don't think I deserve all the A's that I got. I got some 89s or some 91s. I told you 92 was an A. And because I smiled and I was professional and the teacher liked me, I think he or she slid me up to my average, all right, or allowed me to turn in extra credit or redo a test I didn't do so well in simply because they liked me. I had to find a way to get it done. Bring them candy, flowers, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Do what we need to do. All right, number 8. Make your kids gritty. This is the number 1 quality of the world's most successful people. They are gritty. And what does that mean? That means we have to make our kids do hard things. How many of you can relate to the fact that you have your child do something and when it gets difficult, whether it's sports or cheerleading or math or science or drawing or even YouTube, you know, they quit. Don't allow them to do that. Require them to do hard things because life is hard. When you get a challenge, they need to already be trained that I know how to do hard things. All right? I know how to do hard things. Remember I told you that one of my contracts is with the NBA? I know that one of the things they look for are the grittiest athletes. Those athletes that can have a poor game, but they go back and they look at film and they say, all right, I'm going to get better. I'm going to practice this shot. I'm going to learn how to do this jump shot or learn how to do this new move to get open or learn how to shoot higher. If I'm a short player or if I'm a veteran, I'm going to have to learn how to, you know, just get fouled every time and shoot buckets, shoot 20 foul shots a game. Because I can't dunk on anyone, but I can get fouled. Grittiness. All right? And what we know is that the world's most successful people are gritty. And so what is grit? It's failing and waking up the next day and failing a little bit less. And waking up the next day and failing a little bit less. And waking up the next day and not failing so much to where you get to average. And wake up the next day to where you get to good. And wake up the next day to, wow, you're a phenomenal writer. You had to go through 8 revisions, which really is the process, but now you're a great writer, not because you're naturally talented, but because you're gritty. And you're getting better each time because you are gritty. All right? You're going to actually pick that book up. All right? The Power of Passion and Perseverance. You're going to learn something as a parent. I took it, and I took the grit score, and mine was lower than I thought. All right? And my wife had a higher grit score than I did, and I felt some type of way. But when I read it, it's true. There are some times in which I get impatient and I give up on something like technology. I've been trying to figure out this technology for about 6 months. I want to have video and presentation, and video and cut off. Anyway, we won't get to that. But I've been gritty with it, and it's paid off because I don't let things go. I'm tenacious, and the world's most successful people are gritty, and that's what we want to teach our kids. Teach them how to fail and grit back. Okay, it's called Learn Industriousness by Dr. Robert Eisenberger. Look that study up. Basically, in a nutshell, he took this study with rats, and he found out that when you gave rats food, compared to rats that had to work for their food, they had to pull a lever for the food to come down. The rats that had to work hard for the food actually became the hardest working rats when they put them through other exercises. So what's that mean? We can't make it too easy on our kids. When we make it too easy, they become lazy. And this happens a lot of times to parents who have a lot of income. So they call it affluenza. So what happens is you're affluent and your child expects to be the best at what they do simply because their parents have it. Their parents are great, all right? And so what happens is they don't have that work ethic. They don't have that grit. They haven't had to do what you did to get those means. You started the business, all right? But you had to start from the bottom. You had to struggle. And because we robbed them of the struggle, trying to make life better for them, we made them weak. Woo! That was sermon right there. So to make sure we don't make it too easy. And that's why I'm a proponent of all kids working, at least on the weekends or volunteering, so that they understand that this world requires grit, so that they have that tenacity and that grit moving forward. All right? And last one, be happy and get a life, parents. You must have a life outside of your kids. If you want to be happy, do more things that make you happy. Don't just go to work and home. If you like to work out, go to work and to the gym. If you like to dance, go to the dance studio. Or go to, a Latin dance club. Do whatever it is you want to do. You have to be happy, or pick that book up. Because I know sometimes as parents, we just sacrifice everything for our kids. We sacrifice too much and we give up balance and we wonder why we're unhappy. All right, and what I know is unhappy parents produce unhappy kids. The happier we are, the easier it is to parent. Can church say amen? All right. So happiness will improve when you schedule a social life with no kids. You and your significant other, your boo, your king, your queen, whatever the case may be, you should be dating. You should be dating on a regular basis to make that relationship work. All right. Can't be all about the kids. Kids will be doing fine in your marriage. Your relationship will be terrible. So make sure you're doing the things that make you happy. Work out, professional development, travel, do some things, all right? Because balanced parenting is the key, not permanent self-sacrifice. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be bitter. Now I see this all the time with parents that come in, their kids have graduated, and now they have an empty nest. And the husband and wife don't know how to relate because everything was about the kids, and they don't have a relationship, and they end up breaking up. Or you gave up 18 years, and you should have been dating. All right, this is a note for you, single mom and single dad. Hey, don't wait till they get 18 to start dating. Date now. I didn't say introduce them to your kids, but have a separate social life. Maybe y'all get married, and then two is better than one. You can have that help right now. You can have that stepdad or that bonus dad. I don't like stepdad. That bonus dad, that bonus mom right now. You have double income, double wealth, double help. Anyway, all right, and that's going to make you happier. You don't have to self-sacrifice because you have children. That just means you have to do and take care of myself and my children. All right, that sets someone free. That's why I do this, because I want you to gain something. Let me give you a little bonus. I think we have about 3 or 4 minutes left. This is the hamburger model of happiness that comes out of that book we just referenced, Happiness. All right, and so he has this grid, okay? And on the right side, so here's how it works. So if what you're doing right now is negative, does not make you happy, and it has no ability to make you happy in the future, that's called nihilism. That basically is slow death, all right? Because what you're doing right now, it doesn't make you happy, and it has no ability to make you happier later, okay? The other end of that is what you're doing now makes you happy, but it has no ability to make you happy in the future. That's hedonism. So you might be working a job right now for doing something illegal, selling drugs, and it's good right now, but in the future it's going to be to your detriment. That's hedonism, okay? The third quadrant is the rat race. This is where most of us are, All right. This is where what you're doing right now is not necessarily fun, but you are hoping and praying that you can just retire one day. It'll benefit you in the future. So you feel like you're on a hamster wheel. If I just keep making the donuts, keep making donuts, one day I can retire. I want you to get out of that because your health may fail. You may get there and something happens with your children, a hot water here, or a house, or you might get a rogue president. I'll leave that right there. And it can mess up everything. Your investments could mess up. Or the world might be more hostile. And so all that rat race didn't pay off in the future. Where you want to be is the happiness quadrant. But what you're doing right now, you love. And it has the ability to benefit you in the future. A good example for that is school. You're in school right now, and you enjoy it. You enjoy studying psychology or engineering or math, and it has the ability to produce a job for you in the future. All right? And so I think that's important for you as parents. Do what you love right now and make sure that it pays off in the future. What can make me happy now and the future? That's the hamburger model of happiness. Okay? All right, so there's another book I want you to pick up, How Children Succeed. He talks about the 5 character traits that we have to instill in our kids for them to be successful. I didn't know about any of these things, and I'm going to go over them briefly because I did promise to keep this, under an hour, and I'm going to keep it under 55 minutes. All right? Number 1, teach our kids to go to school every single day, on time, go to class, not be tardy, do their assignments, turn in every day. That's being a professional. 2, ambition. Don't give your kids everything. Make them work for things. Make them have that go-get-them attitude, go-getter attitude. Give them that ambition. You have to make. Number 3, integrity. Have to work on their character man, their character woman. Number 1 place to do that is church. All right? So if that's not your thing, of course I'm a minister, so of course I'm going to advocate for character building through the church. All right? But if that's not your thing, you have to find another way to instill character. You have to help them to realize why they should abstain, why they should be kind, why they should be kind to their neighbor, why they should do unto others the way they want people to treat them. Does that make sense? All right? Integrity, because you don't want to get that call in the middle of the night. You can have an honor roll student, but that integrity is not right. That character man, that character woman's not right. They might call and say they had sex in pregnancy, or they might got arrested, or experimenting with drugs, or cheated on tests. You have to make sure you instill that integrity. Number 4, resourcefulness. We talked about that. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Now, my parents from Alabama, so I have all these country sayings, but hey, there's more than one way to get things done. So don't tell me you can't get it done. Tell me 3 or 4 things that you're going to try next to get it done. And then number 5, we talked about grit, and that's the most important one. So pick that book up by Paul Tuff. It is phenomenal. It's going to make you a better parent and your kids. All right, so okay, parents, it's time for honor roll. I want you to declare what you want. Realize the 4 Ds. I got this from my spiritual father, Dr. Dale C. Bronner. Dr. Dale C. Bronner, Bishop Bronner. 4 Ds. Declare what you want. When you declare it, that means you want something bigger. It's going to be followed by the second D, which is distress. All right? It's going to happen. It's going to be obstacles. All right? But that second D is going to be followed by development. All right? That's going to happen when you remain consistent. You're developing these new work skills. All right? Like a gym. You say you want to lose weight. You declare you want another better body. Or you distress the body. It hurts. You feel worse coming out the gym. Your kid feels tired after coming out of the tutorial. All right? But then they're developing the math and the reading skills, and our body is developing into a better body that is summer fine. All right? But we had to go through the distress phase. And then the final one is demonstration of improved grades. So you declared it. There was distress because it is going to require work. Your child learned work ethic through the development of those skills and having those good habits. And then now you can demonstrate what they declared, because now they're on honor roll. Now they're getting college scholarships. Now they're getting wonderful ASVAB scores. Now they're able to get to those technical colleges, schools, and they're able to do what it is they want to do because you have instilled in them work ethic. You become that parenting hero. Everything is possible now because you're the parenting hero. All right? So my name is Dr. Tartt. That's my contact information. If you want me to speak to your organization, or church, or school, or consult, whatever it is that you need, serious inquiries only, because I do see clients every single day. I know I play a doctor on TV, but I really am one every single day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6. Okay, so that's my email. That's my website. You can also see me on Facebook. On Facebook, it's Dr. Alduan Tartt. All right, Dr. Alduan Tartt. So Facebook.com, Dr. Alduan Tartt, and on Twitter, it's at Dr. Tartt. at DRTARTT, and there's my website. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful. I'm Dr. Tartt. We can do anything we set our minds to, and now we can be our own children's parenting hero. You deserve it. They deserve it. Take care and God bless.